So, hey, in this video, we'll be looking into something called event propagation. Uh, the- it is basically you might get this question maybe in the form of output. Let's say you might be given something like guess the output, a type of question. And so, yeah, but this is kind of that question only. It's not like you have to, it won't be in your production applications, this code. But yeah, you should be knowing if you are going through maybe a front-end interview or such. Right. So the basic question you might see that like let's say we have an index or HTML. I have made something already a kind of a two lines code. So what I have is I have three divs. I have two divs and then a button, and they are nested upon each other. And this first div is the outer one, and the second is the nested one, and the button is at the just the bottom, right? So you might get the question like, let's say this is the output of what I am getting. I have not done any CSS and all, but you get the idea, right? So this has the background color red. Let me just can I put this with or something? There's maybe pixels. Yeah, fine. I'm getting this. I'll just give it 100 pixels. Okay, so now you will get the idea, right? So this is the outer div that has. Let me just put this real quick. Width has 100 pixels. No, I want 200 pixels. So right. So this the red one is mm, the most outer div, and the second one is the black div. That is the second div, and the button is the third div. Right. It is not a button, but yeah, you get the idea, right? So in this, I have just written some normal code that is the event listener and the first, second, third, and these are the console. It is just, simply consoling it, right? So so let's say you will be asked like, for example, if I click on the button, then what will I get in the console? So because they are in the in the nested one upon each, so you might think that I will get like first the outer div will be invoked, and then the second one will be invoked, and the third, finally the button will get invoked, right? But the thing is, here it comes the concept of event propagation. So there are two concepts. Basically, you will be asked like the bubbling, event bubbling, and capturing. So what happens is, let me just pull the whiteboard if I have, yeah. So the what the concept says is that, let's say I have this div, right? There's the first one, there's the second one, and there's the button, right? There's the btn, there's the second, and there's the first, right? And let's say if I now, for example, I click on button, then you'll think that the first will get invoked and the second will get invoked, then my button will get invoked, right? But this is actually not what happens really. You can do it, but it is not what happens. So what happens is the bubbling concept. What the bubbling says is that event actually bubbles. So if you know, if you have played with those, we used to make like those what was that, soap bubbles, right? So if you remember soap bubbles, so there, yeah, so if you remember, then bubble actually increases the size, right? As soon as we like apply some air with our mouth, then it will increase our size, increase its size, right? As much we apply the air, it will be just increasing that size, right? The radius actually increases. So just like that, the concept is same. So what happens is the button is like where we apply it's not real, but yeah, you can just just familiarize the concepts, right? So if you apply the click on the button, your bubble actually increases. Now first the button gets invoked, and then the second div gets invoked, and then the first div invokes. And this is the what actually bubbling says, that this is how the event should be invoked. But there is a counter application. The counter argument that is given by some people, that no, it shouldn't be happening, because if I'm clicking on the button, because it is nested upon each other, then my output should be this: the first, then second, and the button, right? So this was kind of like a clash, but there's a story behind. But so this is what actually happens. So let's say usually what you will do is, uh, you will not apply. So let's just see the what actually the output we are getting. So here I have not applied anything. This is just a normal code. So usually by default everything will be bubbling. I mean, it will be the events get bubbles if there is a nested HTML, then we will get the bubbling feature. It will behave like a bubble. But let's say I am clicking on the button, then you'd see that I'm getting 3 to 1, right? So first the third, that is the button, gets invoked, and then the second, and then the third. But what JavaScript actually provides, that for some, many people actually complain about that this shouldn't be happening. Because if there is a nested HTML, then the first should get invoked, and the second gets invoked, and the third gets invoked, right? So for that, JavaScript they have also managed to satisfy them, that okay, you don't have to do anything, you just use a use capture. Right. So what is a use capture? Use capture is basically, you can say this the third argument in the add event listener. So usually what you do is you type a click, or maybe on, over, or anything, the event type, and the second will be a callback function, that for this it is the first, right? And there's just a callback function, and the third argument that is accepts is the use capture. So it is not like a hook or react or anything. It is just a boolean. So by default, if you don't give anything, then it is a falsy value. And for bubbling, I'm just writing for bubbling, use capture is false. So if you don't give anything, it is a falsy value. So it will behave like a bubbling feature, like a yeah bubbling. And if you provide the value or the true boolean, it will it will behave like it will behave like capturing. So what's capturing now? So capturing is just the opposite of the bubbling, because uh, usually the people will think that okay, the first div should be invoked, then the second, then the third. So you have to just what you have to do is you just have to let me just yeah, I can select this. So in the third argument, you have to just, so if you read this, you would find that what add event listeners actually see where I think I have read this. Yeah. So what happens is the event here it is written that event bubbling and capturing are two ways of propagating an event that occur in an element that is nested within another element. When both elements have registered a handle for an event, the event propagating mode determines the order in which the element receives the event. So it is just the mode of propagation, because if you want it to propagate with the help of bubbling, then it will behave like something else. And if you want it to behave something else, if you want it to behave like capturing, then you can do it. The events that bubbling upward, yeah. So events that are bubbling upward through the tree. So it is just like a tree, right? So it is, if you see that this is the root, then this is just like a going upward, right? It's just like a tree, isn't it? So